up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing a full face of makeup from the Sephora Collection. I just did a full face of makeup from the Ulta Beauty Collection, which I will link up here in a card, and I figured it only made sense to test out the Rivals in-house collection too. Let's just see as a whole which face am I more impressed with, the Sephora Collection or the Ulta Beauty Collection. Okay, new day, same shirt, same earrings. You know, it's an illusion. So this is the Best Skin Ever Longwear Foundation. This is normally $20 at Sephora. They've got 50 shades. I got the shade 12Y, which is a warm undertone, a yellow undertone. It says it's a medium coverage, natural finish foundation with a long-wearing anti-pollution formula that hydrates skin for up to 12 hours and is infused with skincare benefits. Hyaluronic acid, as everything has nowadays. Red algae extract and brown algae extract. So the brown algae is supposed to provide an anti-pollution protective shield. The hyaluronic acid and red algae hydrate. So yeah, it's supposed to be hydrating. So I have a normal skin type, but acne prone. I don't get super oily, don't get super dry, but I got some blemishes and they can get kind of scabby and they can get raised and textured. So I'm gonna start out with a sponge on this side, and as you can see, I have quite a bit of stuff to cover up as usual, which I feel like makes me a pretty good tester of foundations because I can really test the coverage and buildability. I would say initially it's about a medium coverage. But yeah, blends out pretty well. It's not one that is stiff or hard to blend out or anything. It does spread pretty easily. I will say I don't really feel like it's one that goes a long way though. That was one pump. I've already used that entire pump for this side of my face. Yeah, with a second layer, it is building up a little bit better. I did get more coverage. So far it does have what it says, a natural satin-like finish. Going into my large angled kabuki style brush, I don't know, and starting down here where I have the most to cover up and then work my way up. So yeah, sponge side and brush side. So I feel like the sponge side just looks more meshed in with my skin. It looks more skin-like, and this side I feel like the brush just kind of dried it out and didn't press it into my skin well enough for my liking. So I can also see that on my chin. I feel like my chin looks a little dry on this side, so I'm gonna fix that with a sponge. But I will say, if you have really, really dry skin, I don't think this is gonna provide enough hydration. I think that it's just hydrating enough to where it's not gonna be overly oily or overly greasy on an oily skin person. My skin's not dry, but my texture can be dry, like where I get scabby blemishes and stuff where they're healing. It looks pretty good. Like, I don't really have any major complaints. I've seen a lot worse, but I've also seen a lot better. It's not the most beautiful coverage, the most beautiful finish. So moving on to under eye concealer, I have the Best Skin Ever Full Coverage Multi-Use Concealer. So this one is $15, and oddly enough, there are 50 shades in the concealer as well. I got 12Y in the concealer as well. I'm just gonna do one little dot in the inner corner starting out, and we're gonna see how far this goes. Yeah, I got pretty good coverage. I don't know if I would call that full. I would still say that's a pretty solid medium coverage, but it did cover up pretty much everything I need it to. I feel like it's already kind of set down. Doesn't look dry. So I feel like the foundation is already set. I feel like this also has its own setting power and setting ability to where you wouldn't have to rely on setting powder if you didn't want to. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but I do want to try to build it up right here where I have a lot more stuff going on. I'm gonna go in and start right down here. So it does build up, but it's not one that is a dramatic step. Like, it doesn't go from medium to full, like a high full. It goes from like medium to slightly more medium. I can still see the stuff underneath. So yeah, not super buildable. What just happened? I can tell you that it does look good for the first like 6 or 7 hours, and then after that, on my skin with my texture and stuff, it kind of starts getting dry and starts emphasizing my texture. So it stops sitting nicely on my acne, and it kind of starts cracking around like any areas where I have a lot of movement, like around my mouth, around my nose, in between my eyebrows, like anywhere where I've got lines, movement, stuff like that. Not my favorite, I'll just go ahead and tell you. And then again, the concealer, I have worn this in conjunction with the foundation. It holds up pretty well throughout the day. Like, I don't really feel like it gets super dry or crepey, creasy, nothing like that. Once again, I've tried more affordable drugstore concealers that are way better than this. It's not bad. I honestly feel like this is pretty much the exact same formula. They've got maybe a tad bit more pigment, but I feel like this is almost the exact same formula. So this is the Colorful Shadow Stick and Liner. These are supposed to be waterproof. I got the shade 19 Brass Shimmer. So it does come pointy whenever you first get it out and stuff. So you could definitely use this as an eyeliner. It also has a sharpener on the other end, so you can keep it nice and sharp and pointy. So I'm pretty sure this is a reformulation, because this is what the old colorful shadow and liners used to look like, and these were pretty top-notch, highly rated. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that really love these and swear by how long wearing these are. So Are they going to be as good? Probably not. But yeah, here's what Brass Shimmer looks like. So it's a really pretty metallic, shimmery, coppery bronze shade. I'm just going to go straight in from the stick and apply this all over the lid. Okay, so it's blending out pretty well. It's not setting down too fast so far. It's not like the e.l.f. No Budge Shadow Sticks, which you have no work time with. But the more I blend it, the more I lose the metallic shimmer. It kind of turns into be more soft and more matte, to be honest. So I'm going to go into a brush and try to buff out the edges a little bit. I'm going to go in with a little more product just so I have a little bit to work with my brush, and it's not just a naked, clean brush. And we're going to try to buff this into the crease to just make it look more diffused. Okay, that is Patch City. Yeah, it just took away that pretty metallic finish. It does make it look softer in the crease, so it makes it a little more wearable. So I'm gonna go back in and reapply it to my eyelid. I'm just gonna kind of pat it around to try to preserve it a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So I've got 2 eyeliner formulas, and I've got about 5 shades in one of them. So I'm going to try both. So the first one I have is the 12-hour retractable eyeliner. This is the shade number 4, Matte Terracotta. Let's go ahead and swatch it. Now, I do want to leave these swatches up on my hand as long as possible. And we'll come back later and do a rub transfer test and see how how long wearing they could be. That's not always the best indicator of how they're going to wear on the eyes, but I don't know, it gives you an idea. It's kind of like a warm, dark brown. It's got a little bit of a red undertone to it, so it's nice and pretty and very, very smooth, super creamy. The other ones I have, I think these are a little more popular amongst people. This is the 12-hour colorful contour eye pencil. These are the kind that you sharpen. But the first shade I have in the 12-hour contour eye pencil is Tiramisu, which is a matte shade. So we're going to put this right over, let's see, I don't want to get these mixed up. Let's put it right here. So this is just your basic, almost blackish brown. Again, super smooth, extremely creamy, pigmented. The next one I have is Flirting Game, which is a shimmer. And this one is more of a taupey kind of brown. And I think this is a pretty understated kind of color. I don't like it for the top part of the eyelid, but a lot of times in the waterline, this can make your eyes really pop. Then the last brown I have is Cocoa, which is also a shimmer. Really, really dark, bronzy brown. So yeah, Tiramisu, Flirting Game, and Cocoa. I don't know why I never end up using them, but for some reason I'm so drawn to like a maroon burgundy red. So here is the shade Aloha, which is a matte, and I don't know, I feel like if you do this right, this can be so eye-popping and just so enhancing of your eye color. And I think that's a really good red undertone. It's just a really dark maroon. It can make you look like you've got pink eye or some kind of eye disease. You just gotta be careful. And then the last shade that I've got is a black, because you gotta have a black. So this is the shade Black Lace, which is also matte. Oh, that is so creamy. So yeah, pretty jet black, pretty intense, kind of that coal, smoky kind of black. Which one do I want to use now? I don't know, but I gotta tell you, not really digging the way the eyeshell's looking. It looks very washed out, very sheer, kind of sweaty. It looks like I've been sweating for 17.5 hours. Not the most flattering. Right, I'm gonna start off with Tiramisu in the contour eye pencil on this side. Okay, very creamy. It's just completely gliding on. Smoking out pretty well, but it does have some set down already. Not to the point where it's hard to blend out and smoke. I can still work with it and move it it's got playtime. But I feel like I also need to test out the other formula, the retractable formula. So let's do that one on the left side. So this is again Matte Terracotta. Very, very creamy. It is completely gliding on, no tug whatsoever. I feel like the contour eye pencil set down a lot faster to where I couldn't move it around as much. And on this side, I can make a wing. It's still, very flowy. So just a little more give with that one. For mascara, this is the Big By Definition Mascara. It says it's a volumizing and lash multiplying effect. This one to me screams Tower 28. I'm not familiar with Tower 28 at all in terms of performance and stuff, but I feel like their mascara and their packaging looks just like this. So I feel like that may be what Sephora was trying to do. It's a pretty standard wand, nothing really special about it. It's almost the same density from top to bottom. Yeah, that is not what I'm digging. It will not easily pull through from root to tip. I'm getting tons of clump. My lashes are completely piecing together, but we're gonna do a second coat. It's so wet. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. There is no separation whatsoever. Oh my God. This almost never happens to me. I hate to say, I can find the good in most products, but this is gross. No, 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 no. Alrighty, I don't have a bronzer, so we're gonna look kind of pale today. Or should I put some on? I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in the shade Tan Lines. I'm just gonna do a little bit of this just so everything else looks more normal. I feel like I have lost a tad bit of luminosity and sheen with the foundation. Like it's almost mattifying the more I wear it. So again, went too hard and got 4 different shades in the blush. So this is the colorful blush. It's just a powder. I got the shades Passionate, Shame on You, Free Spirit, and Heated. These are $14, and this is also a reformulation. These used to be kind of that baked, like raised product, like a dome-shaped product, and it used to be really good. Let's go ahead and do some swatches. So the first one is Passionate. So this one's kind of like a warm terracotta. So this one has a tad bit of shimmer to it, but it's not like a chunky, sparkly shimmer. So it almost looks like a bronzer on my skin tone, just it's got more of that oranginess to it. But yeah, that is Passionate. And then this one is Shame on You. So how would you describe this? Like a neutral, just like mid-tone pink. Going into Free Spirit, which is also a shimmer. And this one is more of a peachy coral, so it's got more of like a lightness to it. And it also has a little bit of gold shimmer in there. And last but not least, I have Heated, which is another shimmer. This one's a tad bit more flaky. It's a deeper, warm pinky mauve in a way. And it has more of a chunky gold sparkle versus a shimmer. So yeah, there is what the lineup looks like. Wow, the longer I wear this foundation, the less I like it. I kind of want to put that orangey terracotta shade down first, kind of almost acting like a bronzer, like just kind of warm up the skin a little bit more. You can't really see any shimmer once it's on the skin. It looks pretty matte. I don't know, it just looks kind of powdery, and it's very firmly pressed in there, so I feel like it takes a little bit of work to build it up and to get it to actually show up. Now let's go into Free Spirit, which is another shimmer. We're gonna put this very lightly right here. I'm trying to use as much as possible, people. That just lays down sparkle. Like it doesn't look like a shimmery finish, like it doesn't have that pretty glow or anything. It's a matte base with chunks of gold sparkle. Not my cup of tea. On the other side, let's do one of the more pink tones. Let's start out with the darker mauve. This is the shade Heated. Let's start it back here towards my hairline, and we'll do the lighter shades towards the inner portion of my cheek. Yeah, gold sparkle. It is showing up, so it's at least pigmented enough to, you can actually use a fluffy brush and it shows up, but again, not the prettiest finish. I'm gonna go into the lightest shade. So we have at this point successfully used all 4 shades, and this is Shame on You. So this is the one that I had when it was the baked formula. So let's put this in the inner portion of my cheek. That was probably too much. I don't have enough cheek for this. This one at least doesn't have that gaudy looking sparkle. It's okay. I'm gonna go back into the sponge, like the concealer side, and with whatever's left over, like I'm just gonna blend the edges of the concealer and the blush because I went ham, as I normally do. I feel like everything is too matte. I've got a powder, and I've wanted to try this powder for a long time too. I got a wrong shade. Like I got a shade that's too dark, number one, so let's just corrupt this face even more. This is the Micro Smooth Multitasking Baked Face Powder Foundation. I got the shade 25 Beige. It's supposed to be, less of like a super flat matte kind of finish, and supposed to kind of maintain some sheen and luminosity if you already have some to your skin. So yeah, on the back of my arm, it's a good match, but it darkens on my face. Just gonna dab some in there and then dab some off on the back of my arm, and we're gonna set my T-zone. I feel like when I do that, I kind of knock off some of the excess. It doesn't look as dark, so that's a good thing. It doesn't look that dark today. What is going on? The other day I used this, maybe I just used it with the wrong foundation and it just, for whatever reason, darkened. I don't know, but it doesn't look too off now. So it is filling my pores a good amount to where it looks a lot better now. Like my pores don't look as large and in charge. It is maintaining a little bit of like a natural aspect to it in a way. It looks like there's very, very fine micro sparkle in the powder foundation. I do see a little bit of sparkle here and there where I've applied this. That could be some debris from the blush. Not a lot of coverage added with this. It really just kind of provides a veil, like a more mattified veil over your skin. It's not bad. It did kind of amp the foundation look up a little bit. By the way, the under eyes, yeah, they look dry too. I do want to put on that Aloha shade in the contour eye pencil, that red shade on my waterline, just to see, what's the worst that can happen? I used this the other day on the top and it looked a lot better. I feel like that looks like I'm kind of bleeding. I feel like with the right tones and the right buffing and, you know, really working with the eyeshadow, it could look a lot better. So I'm not holding it against it. It's still very pretty. Pretty hard to come off, and I literally just now got done applying that. Ooh. Yeah, that's not want to come off. I'm going to go into the retractable eye pencil in the shade Matte Terracotta, and let's just make it more balanced. Okay, going back to the swatches on my hand. So remember, this is the eyeshadow stick, Brass Shimmer. This is the retractable pencil, and then all of these are the contour eye pencils, the one that you sharpen. So let's do it. Okay, that retractable one, it's gone. Contour eye pencils are fading and bleeding just a little bit. Definitely more than I thought they would, and the eyeshadow stick that I put on my eyelid is also completely rubbing off, so that doesn't make me feel very secure. Run through, let's do it. The eyeshadow stick that I used, that coppery shade Brass Shimmer, no, absolutely not. The eye pencils, I thought that the retractable pencil was going to be a good thing. I mean, it may wear perfectly fine on the eyes. I mean, am I going to be going in with my hands and rubbing it? No. Went on well. It's pigmented. It's creamy. It's worth checking out. But for me, I don't really have a whole lot of hope in it now. Contour eye pencils, the ones that sharpen, I feel better about these. Like, I feel like there's more promise with them. They didn't fade off as bad when I did the little rub test, and I do like the way they apply. I like the way they blend out. The shimmers faded a lot worse than the matte shades, so I feel like there's more promise with the mattes. The Big By Definition Mascara, this is a hard pass, okay? Hard no. I feel like I've made it pretty clear about the foundation, but in case I haven't, I'm not overly impressed with this. Like, I feel like the longer it sits on my skin, it just continues to look more flat and just more mattified, which if you have oily skin, you may like that quality. So, you know, there's the pro there. I do think the powder kind of enhanced everything and made everything look better. But like I said, the other times I've worn this, it's just looked more and more dry on my skin throughout the day. Like, it's just kind of settled around the cracks in my blemishes and stuff, and just made my blemishes look more pronounced. So this, to me, it's a no. For $20, I think they're so much better at the drugstore. I feel the exact same about the concealer. It looks okay at first. Again, it does have the tendency to kind of look a little bit dry throughout the day, and I feel like if you have more wrinkly under eyes and a lot of fine lines and a lot of crepiness or dryness, this will not play well with that. So once again, I've tried way better for a whole lot less. Blushes, I'm not impressed with. I really thought that I was going to be, because they have a pretty good rating on the Sephora website. The way they sit on the skin is just not very flattering. They're very flat. They're very matte. To me, they could go for a lot more softness. Seemingly across the board, just contain too much sparkle, and just they're not fine enough. They're not that micro fine sparkle to me. I don't recommend these either. The powder foundation, I do want to try a little bit more. It seems kind of fickle. What do I love? Nothing. Just from what I've tried, the Ulta Beauty Collection, in case you care about the rival, is a whole lot better across the board. Like this, none of this is anything to write home about. If you want to see more like this where I talk about just one brand, then you know what to do. Give this a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and turn the notification bell on to always see my stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah.